Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're actually going to be doing something that I have been looking forward to since last year when I first heard that A, these were coming, and B, that I was actually getting one. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new flagship of the 1366 socket, the Intel i7 990X. Now, this is going to be quite a jibber-jabber bit of video. You're going to be getting a lot of me chit-chatting. I'll do a few benchmarks for you at the end. Currently it's just running prime, so I can show you some temperatures on the overclock that I got. And we'll do a bit of gaming, but obviously with the CPU at the end of the day, you just want to know what it overclocks like really, and what it's like. Now the thing with the 990X is there's no architecture changes on the CPU whatsoever. It's still got 12 meg of a level 3 cache, and the only real thing that they've done is given it a bit of a core bump, and it's stock out of the box at 3.47 gigahertz across all 6 of its cores, because obviously it's a hex core. Now pretty much basically what the 990 is like, the only way I can kind of explain it in layman's terms is they're pretty much like speed bin cherry picked 980Xs. And this is something that a lot of people haven't really understood in the past, and I've done quite a few videos and made quite a few comments about stuff, but the 980X was built, or was, where it had that unlocks multiplier for big clocks. Most of them, especially the earlier ones, needed a lot of volts. And the way to get the best clocks was to use that multiplier. The 970 was completely different. It had a locks multiplier of 25, but it liked base clock a lot more. Now, to put things into comparison for you, I've got a 970 and a 980. My 970, for 200 times 20, needed 1.25 volts for 4 gigahertz. The 980 needed 1.35 volts. The 970 was a 5 gigahertz chip. The 980, the best I've ever got out of it was 4.8, no matter what I did with it. A lot of the 980 problems though were some of the early engineering samples were they were still amazing chips, they just weren't as good as what came with the 970s later. So basically the 970 was a base clock chip. You could get a good stable high base clock with lower volts. The 980 was pretty much what I call a freezing chip. It was for the overclockers, the real hardcore kind of overclockers. Wasn't necessarily very much of a chip for a normal enthusiast, although a lot of people did buy them. Now the reason why I've told you so much about the other two chips is because the 990 is pretty much the best of both of those two. It loves base clock, it's low volts, but it's still got that unlocked multiplier. Now I'm not going to show you 20 million CPU-Z screen grabs or anything like that, so you're going to have to sit and listen carefully to all the stuff that I'm going to be telling you now. Basically when I test the chip, the first thing I do is turn the multiplier right back down and see how high I can get the base clock. Now my one would not go above 220 base clock for love nor money. Now generally when you get to a high base clock or get to your maximum base clock, it doesn't necessarily like that maximum base clock once you start to move the multiplier back up. This one was a little bit different because it actually loved that 220 base clock, to the point where I could wind the multiplier up to 21 with 1.35 volts and have a 220 base clock based 4.4 gigahertz overclock. Now that's very impressive in itself. Now, maximum overclock I achieved was 208 base clock times 25 for just over 5.2 gigahertz at 1.5 volts. All on air cooling. Now that wasn't a benchable overclock by any stretch of the imagination. I had disabled hyperthreading and I had the QPI speed on slow mode just to be able, it was literally get it to Windows and bomb. But that's actually my personal best air clock to date on any of the chips that I've had, because I did get 5. I joined the 5 GHz club with my 970, so I've now kind of, this is now superseded the amazing clocks that I got out of my 970. But, and I can hear a lot of you kind of like looking around and wanting to know what bench clock I had. The bench clock I used in the end was based on a 204 BCLK with a 23 multiplier for just over, or back, hang on, just have a look because I'm doing it now, 204 times 23 for 4.7 gigahertz at 1.45 volts on air cooling, and it's benching behind me at the moment. I'm running prime with large FFTs, and the hottest core is 72 with a Noctua NHD 14, and it's singing away there. It's a properly good chip. Now, like I said, there's going to be a lot of chit chatting. There's going to be loads of people out there going on about the 1155s and all that kind of stuff. And right, if you're going to start talking about money, you have completely missed the point of the 990X. It's not about oh, my 2600K when overclocked can outbench it. That's not the point. The thing is this is like the X58 going out in a blaze of glory at the end of the day. This is Intel now going, right, we've got a good selection of these hex cores now that they've been speed binning for months. We're going to let them go out to the public. This is going to be the last big release for the 1366 socket, and you know, this is about as good as it's getting. And pretty much the same with the motherboards as well. The X58 obviously will be getting replaced at the end of the year, when Ivy Bridge and like the new stuff starts to come into 2011. But we've just had that amazing Gigabyte G1 Assassin, and that's one of the best X58 boards I've tested to date. High Cookie and Gigabyte have obviously got the Gigabyte X58 OC board coming. So yes, okay, we are nearing the end of the X58, but there's still a lot more to offer. Obviously, I have I'm in a very fortunate position that I can pretty much pick and choose what bits I want. And for some strange reason, I do stay with X58 because I see the 1155 overclocking being like overclocking for dummies. You know those kind of stupid books that you get about, you can pretty much get them about everything. Well, that's the way I see overclocking on 1155, because it's all about the multiplier. You've not got to balance any of your RAM or anything like that, because you pretty much stay at the 100 base clock. Then you just play with the multiplier and the volts. And to be perfectly honest with you, that bores me stupid. I like to tweak and tune and play about with, and mess about with this and mess about with that, and that's what X58 is. If you can overclock an X58 board and understand what's going on about balancing all your memory multipliers and your UCLK clock, and making sure that your QPI is set right, understanding what QPI volts do and why as soon as you start pushing your memory speed up, why do you need so much QPI volts? There's a lot into it, and I really thoroughly like that. To the point where this review is going to be going live on the 28th on Overclock 3D, which is a Monday. This chip arrived very late Friday, and I've pretty much worked right the way through, you know, to make sure I got all the benches and all the clocking and everything like that done, because I thoroughly enjoy playing around and working with the X58 platform. I honestly, it's fun for me. Some of the other stuff can get a bit tedious because you're doing the same thing day in, day out, but I love playing with the 1366s, and yeah, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, these are going to be silly expensive, but that's not what they're about. It's really not what they're about. It's just like, it is very difficult to try and explain it. I suppose you would say, really, if if this was a case of 1155 was AMD and then 1366 was Nvidia, I would be, you know, a fanboy, and I would be saying, you know, I'm an X58 fanboy, because I am, because that's I actually enjoy working with it a lot more. But anyway, the performance of this thing is absolutely mental. I'm going to pop you off the tripod quickly now, and then I'm going to bring you in. I'll show you the temperatures, and then I'll do a W prime run as well. But it's absolutely stonking, it's mental. But anyway, I'm going to just shush for just a quick little moment, and I'll bring you in, and we can have a look. Right then guys, the whole time that I was talking to you before, we've had prime running, and you can see the rig over here, just Zotac GTX 580 amp, and then the good old fashioned Noctua NHD 14, and then that's the bench clock that I'm running. Don't forget, like I said, it's 1366 Hexcore, and then if we come down, I'll show you the temperatures. That's the current value is this, then that's the minimum, and that's the maximum recorded. And as you can see, it's not even hot. But I'm just going to run a quick W prime with you sat there, and you can watch. I need to set the thread count. Set that to 12, because obviously it's 6 cores and 12 threads. And we'll just do the 32 million, the quick one. That's it, done. And you can see it's done that in 4.5 seconds. Now if I was to do the 1024M, then it does that in just over 2 minutes. It's 125 seconds. It's absolutely mental performance from this. Right, I'm going to do some gaming with you now, just so that you can see what it's like with a single 580. We'll just do some Metro and some Crisis, and then we will yeah, we will go for... actually, I'll tell you what I will do as well. I will do a 3D Mark Vantage and 3D Mark 11 for you as well. Right then guys, we'll do some Metro, and then we'll go off and play some Crisis. This is with the CPU at 4.7 GHz, as I showed you previously, and a stock 580. As you can see, 45, 48 frames per second up in that top left hand corner at the moment. That one didn't want to die, did he? That bloke screaming really gets on my nerves. Both barrels have it. Getting nearly 50 frames a second in Metro with a single card. Right, this is the end of where we normally play Metro 2, and the noise gets mental, so I'm going to move straight on with Crisis. Right then guys, we are currently playing Crisis with everything maxed out on a single stock 580, so not overclock the card at all. But yeah, completely maxed. Obviously, the main thing about the 580s really is if you overclock and the performance is nuts. But I wanted to keep it stock.
Okay, 2 soft tops up on the beach road. If you fuck up, they'll call in reinforcements. Following behind, I've got another soft top diverting onto the beach and an APC pulling up the rear. I'm also tracking 2 troop carriers and a KPA truck. But what the hell? Just tear up the whole damn resort. KPA trucks are pulling up onto the beach.
Oh, Neil, listen up. I wasn't planning on going solo. I need munitions. What you got?
Okay, lane 1 while I access their mill net. Got it. There's a huge stash of explosives at the beach bar.
Headshot! Boom! That was headshot too! Boom!
Present from Uncle Sam.
Stay still. Have it.
There's 2 soft tops at the car park. Coming into the boathouse. Watch for shrapnel. APC on the road is still active.
Ha 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 ha! Oh! Oh! Did it have his head? No, still got his head. Ding 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 ding. Anyways, that's enough of me playing Crisis badly. Let's get this video wrapped up. Right then, this is coming up to the end of the video. As I've kind of explained previously, this isn't about like price or anything like that. It's just, this is kind of Intel now going, right, this is as far as we can go with the 1366. This is the best we've got to offer, and to be perfectly honest, it still is absolutely mind-blowing performance. Now, if we think that, you know, I mean, we have got new stuff coming later on in the year. You know, they've set their bar immensely high. Now, as I said, I am one of the, what I would call like the cool kids that haven't jumped ship and gone back to the mainstream 1155. I'm sticking put with X58 and would quite happily chuck my own money into X58 parts until the replacement comes in 2011. Now, obviously, the 990X is going to be, you know, it is going to be a lot of money, and you're all kind of sat there. Now, if you want the very best that Intel has to offer, it is going to be the 990X, and if you've got the money, I would thoroughly suggest that you get it, just so that you've had, you know, you can say that you've had one and you've had that kind of experience with them. But because I'm not here to sell you the 990X, I'm actually here just to kind of let you know what I think about it and advise you about the whole kind of package. What I do need to say is, and Intel will probably beast me because they've sent me an awesome chip and I'm actually going to tell you to buy other stuff. If you can't afford the 990X, it's just going to stretch your budget that little bit too far and you can't do it, or you can't justify it, that's fair enough. Remember the 970. Forget the 980X because I've never been a fan of the 980X. Remember the 970. If you were looking for an air-cooled 4 gigahertz to 4.2, maybe 4.4 gigahertz on reasonable volts, pretty much every one of the 970s out there, if set up correctly and you know what you're doing with your overclocking, will do it. And they've just dropped the prices now. And in the UK, I'm pretty sure they're under 500 quid now. And they're absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. But anyway, it's a very difficult video for me to be able to sum this up, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's immensely powerful. It's awesome. I'm just going to end up going round and round in circles, but X58, absolutely bang on. If you've got the money, don't follow all the sheep, do you know what I mean, that are jumping on the bloody 1155 platform. It's a bit like, I suppose the way I can kind of explain it is, if we just stuck with the normal stuff, we'd all be driving around in really basic cars. But those of us, I'm talking like I have, but I haven't. Those with the money, even though all the speed limits in the UK, the fastest you can ever go is 70 miles an hour, there's still people spending hundreds of thousands of pounds on Lamborghinis and stuff like that, even, you know what I mean, that can do 200 miles an hour. It's exactly the same with computer parts. If you just bought the bits that you actually needed, everyone would have a boring PC, but we don't. We try and get the absolute most out of them, we overclock them, do you know what I mean, we spend far more money than we probably ever really need to, because we're always striving for that last ounce of performance. And for some of us, to be perfectly honest, money's not really an object, and that's where the 990X kind of slips in. It's for those bonkers enough to want to pay the money, but if you do pay the money, the amount of fun and enjoyment and tweaking and performance that you get from it it'll always pay for itself, in my honest opinion. But as I said, if you've not got the money for the 990X and you're kind of thinking to yourself, I'd love one, I can't afford one, then remember the 970, because yeah, the 970 still is kind of the point where at the same clocks it's going to be exactly the same speed as the 990. But you need to remember that the 990 will be doing it at lower volts and it'll be cooler, and yeah, but it will have creamed your pocket for another 500 quid. So it's a very difficult video for me to do this one, but the one thing that we all need to take away from it is that this is probably the curtain call for X58. We'll probably be seeing a few more motherboards and stuff like that, but now is when the 990 comes in and all of the overclockers, the professional overclockers I should say, are going to be going absolutely mental trying to get these chips to get those final few scores out of it. before things start to get properly faded away for Ivy that's coming up later on in the year. So yeah, this is a very strange video, and to be perfectly frank with you, a CPU in a video is always going to be about the reviewer's kind of personal opinion, so hopefully I've got this away for you. But one thing I can say is that you're going to be seeing a lot more of the 990X, because this chip is going in my personal rig. I love it, and hopefully that should show you how much I like it, because I'm taking the 970 out of my, or I'm using a 970 at the moment, and this is going in there. So yeah, hopefully I will be able to do X58 some justice finally. And even though I've been trying to get this done for over a year now, I'm determined this year to get my own personal custom project done. But yes, immensely confusing video, and I do apologise, but yet again, as I said, it's just, this is X58 going out with a bang. Keep your eyes on HWBot and the like, because yeah, there's going to be a lot of chit chat around all of the forums all over the world now, with all the overclockers going absolutely nuts with these things, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing what they can do. I've already heard actually that with a 990X on the Gigabyte X58 OC board on LN2, High Cookie has already pushed one past 7.2 gigahertz. So if you think that this is you know what I mean, they are absolutely nuts in the right hands. But anyway, I'm not going to keep going around in circles. I'm sorry I've dragged it on this long already. I'm just completely dumbfounded by it, and I've just been trying to find the best way for me to try and explain that to you guys. But without further ado, this is a very word and chit chat based review by Tiny Tom Logan on the Performance Award winning Intel 990X out.